Here it is. You're thinking about taking all the equipment that you got from your home office and taking it into your new physician practice. And I'm thinking, no, stop right there. You don't want to do that, especially if you're dealing with HIPAA, PHI, ring a bell, right? And then maybe PCI compliance. You probably haven't even heard of that one. There's a lot of things that you must consider when you have an office where you're going to be taking credit cards and things like that as well, accepting credit cards or checks, or there's a few technical pieces that you have to be aware of. And I'll just give you a little bit about my background just so you have an idea. Let's say I've worked in the IT management space for quite a few years for some major hospitals in the West Coast, in the Central, East Coast. So I probably have an idea of what it takes to set up an office. I've been through some Epic. If you're not familiar with the EMR like Epic, that's a huge one. I've been through some technical conversions and implementations. Starting your own physician practice or a small office. This video is a do-it-yourself, kind of a low-cost build, high effectiveness. The idea is that it doesn't take too much to start your home office. It doesn't take too much to start your business office if you are just starting out, either doing in-house, literally, or if you're doing, per se, in-house IT in your own office building. I wrote this because I know there's a lot of small offices, a lot of folks out there that decide they want to start their practice or they want to start a small office, and they say, you know what, I'm pretty tech savvy. I can figure this out, especially if you live in the San Jose area. You're going to do this by yourself. So the idea is at the end, you have some type of idea of what it takes, what equipment to purchase when it comes to the basics, or at the end we'll even kind of open up a invite to book a free consultation, and then we can also help you out as well. This video is geared towards, again, the small physician or similar office under 5 computers users, but it may have some useful information for the larger office builds. This is really kind of an introductory. It's not much of a how-to. This is just going to give you a real good idea of where to start and what the possibilities are. I don't know. I wanted to start this off with sharing a story. Okay, it's story time. I know some of you like stories. When I was a bit younger, Crutchfield was one of my favorite websites to go to. Because I could order a car stereo or an alarm, and Crutchfield says you order our equipment and we will give you some instructions on how to do it. We'll give you a wiring diagram, we'll give you tech support to call, things like that. So I ended up trying it out. I actually liked it. I installed a couple of car stereos, installed an alarm, and I had a good time. Matter of fact, I liked it so much that I actually got a part-time job installing car stereos and alarms. So with all that, I said, I think someone else might want to share that experience. It might be you starting your office. You said, I'm tech savvy enough. I don't really need to hire the IT guys. I can figure it out. If someone just kind of points me to the right direction, give me some diagrams and some documentation to read, I can do it. So that's what we kind of want to do for you here. We just want to give you the option. Maybe you don't want to do it. Maybe you hear this video and you decide, wow, it's way too much. Is there anything else we can do? And yes, there's a lot of service options, especially if you're in the Silicon Valley. Here it is. You're thinking about taking all the equipment that you got from your home office and taking it into your new physician practice. And I'm thinking, no, stop right there. You don't want to do that, especially if you're dealing with HIPAA, PHI, Ring a bell, right? And then maybe PCI compliance. You probably haven't even heard of that one. There's a lot of things that you must consider, when you have an office where you're going to be taking credit cards and things like that as well, accepting credit cards or checks, or there's a few technical pieces that you have to be aware of. Okay. And I'll just give you a little bit about my background just so you have an idea. Let's say I've worked in the IT management space for quite a few years for some major hospitals in the West Coast, in the Central, East Coast. So I probably have an idea of what it takes to set up an office. I've been through some Epic. If you're not familiar with the EMR like Epic, that's a huge one. I've been through some technical conversions and implementations, mini-size hospitals. We've hosted EMRs and set up all the back-end printing, you name it, all the virtualized portions of it. So a small office, I really think of the same concept, but obviously a lot smaller. Is it going to be a hosted solution? In other words, are you going to go to a website to get to your EMR? Those kind of things. Is it on premise? And I think that kind of, really shows those kind of questions are some of the main ones that you want to consider when you're thinking of hardware and equipment. One thing I really loved about the East Coast that I'll never forget, because I've kind of worked on the West Coast so much. It was almost like, I guess people would describe it as a culture shock. And it was that East Coast attitude, you can't forget it. You walk in the office, your boss comes up and they say, hey, look, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on. I'm going to tell you exactly what's happening here. Is there a problem? Is everything okay? No, everything's not okay. Well, look, take that and get this working, eh? It's not my problem. And then I talked to my colleague and I'm thinking, are they allowed to cuss in New York? What's different between here and California? That was kind of a culture shock for me. But anyway, let me get back to this. You never had PCI compliance with your home office, but now that you're into a new office, you have to deal with this compliance. What does that mean? Are you going to have to redesign your whole network? Do you need an extra VLAN? Do you need a separate network? Do you need another IP address? Now you have to order a block of IP address from your ISP. I mean, they're kind of basic. It should be basic. But if you've never encountered it, maybe it's a deal breaker. Maybe it's a showstopper. We want to help you with that because you might need to get set up quick, very fast. I can't say much like do it yourself, because if I say do it yourself, you might not have the expertise to do it yourself. You'll order a bunch of equipment and then you'll be frustrated. So let's talk about some of the roadblocks. I mean, I imagine as a physician, let's just say we're talking to a physician office here. You have to deal with malpractice insurance. You have licenses and fees if you're in California. But then you're going to skimp on your technology. All right. I got a real bad joke. If you skimp, you limp. Okay. Don't skimp or you're going to limp. The last thing you want to do is get into the office and you say, this does not work. I can't figure out how come, why is it slow? How come I can't print? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? Because you decided to skimp. Okay. In other words, you might want to put just a little bit into your equipment. So always remember that. Always remember that. Just, pay a little bit extra. It might actually help out. So now, what kind of practice are you running? So now I'm kind of going to go through some of the questions here. Do you have a practice that is high on, let's say, let's say data usage, okay? Because now we're going to talk about bandwidth. Do you have a lot of radiology images? Any kind of imaging going on? Do you need to have data wiring? Okay. They say wiring is a little bit more secure because there's always some type of exploits going on with Wi-Fi, unless you get a real secured Wi-Fi system that gets updated regularly. Data might be a big thing. How much data are you going to push through these wires? Do you need wiring in your office? How many computers do you have? Do you have one? Do you have two? Where's the location of your router? Where's the location of your router? That might mean if you need wiring. You might be in the office where your ISP comes in. You might not need to wire, through the walls and get a bunch of contractors out there to get set up. Okay. And another question, how many computers do you have? Okay. Simple question. What does that mean? How many ports you can have on your firewall and your switch, or, things like that. How many users, physicians, assistants, and would you prefer, are there any obstacles that you might need to consider having Wi-Fi only? Is it an old building? Are there, glass walls everywhere? These are just kind of things, to think about. These are probably some of the main questions before you get started that need to be answered to size up throughput, bandwidth, the type of security needed, and any other useful tools that helps not just your tech function, but your workflow, because your workflow is going to be very important here. You want to know, when I come in the office, what I'm going to do when I get into the office versus when I'm checking on a patient or in the exam room with the patient. Workflow is going to be very important, and you can have the best tech, but if it does not fit your workflow, what are you using it for? Maybe it's a waste of money, okay, and time, and that's very valuable. Question that I don't think a lot of folks talk about is telemedicine. Do you have any plans in the future? Are you already doing a lot of telemedicine? That's a big deal nowadays, right? How big is your office? Is it a smaller office, a larger office? And will there be credit cards at the reception desk? That's another good question. Fax machine. Are you still using a fax machine versus using some type of electronic fax, an e-fax? Okay. Now we're going to move on to support. A lot of folks don't think about support. You got to think about support. It's kind of like that sleep mattress. What's your sleep number? Okay. The support questions are you a tech expert or a beginner? Because if you're kind of an expert, you really don't need somebody right there, to support you every moment of the way. But if you're a beginner, you might need someone to be right there when you want to call, you want to be able to have a question answered or go online and look at an article. Maybe then you want to make sure that the way that you're set up, the equipment that you choose, the tech companies that you choose to support you, EMR, everything, that you have a very good support network. Of course, that might raise the cost a little bit, but it's just something that that will help your workflow. Okay, and especially if you're running a critical care type of clinic, then you want to make sure that everything around what you do has a very high level of support. If we're talking some type of service level agreement, you want to think about how many hours is it acceptable for there to be a problem in the clinic or in your office. In other words, you pick up the phone and you dial and you call someone, and you can get someone on the phone in 1 hour, 4 hours, 8 hours, 24 hours? What's important for you? Those are questions that you want to answer before you get started. And the other one is, would you like someone to walk through step by step every time there's an issue, because you want to understand where the problem is, where it went wrong. That way you can know how to fix it next time and prevent the thing from happening. Or maybe it's more like, look, just fix it. I'm going to go grab a coffee. Send me a bill. You know, those are very important to understand. So once we get past these questions, then I think you will have a better idea of what you're looking for. Okay, that way you don't have to go to a meeting, go and sit in front of, a tech company or call them and really not know. You go through all the presentations and you're looking for something. Hopefully you find it in the presentation. It might be there, it may not be there. But now that you have these questions, you know what to ask and what to consider. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you an opportunity to answer these questions. We'll list them either here, or on the comment section, and then you'll be able to send them in. Go to our website. You can contact us there and book a free consultation, and we can help you to find out what you need. Some of the common things that folks are ordering these days are pretty simple for an office. What is it? It is a firewall. It is a Wi-Fi access point, a switch, and then it goes to the computer or a laptop. Pretty basic. Nowadays, for security, that's not quite enough. We have other videos talking about that. There's definitely more advanced technology that can pretty much stop ransomware in its tracks before it even touches the computer. And that is the kind of technology I think most should be looking at going forward. So again, contact us, use the form, or you can go to our website or give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to give you a consultation to go over what you may need for your office to make sure that your computers are fast, data is moving quickly and flowing, and that it's safe for you, for your clients, for your patients.